I I I write these articles, and sometimes I look at them and I'm shocked, and then I start researching and I'm even more shocked. And that was certainly the case when I looked into the genetic engineering. I wrote about it in relation to the generation of Noah, in which the sin was the mixing of species. Um, and that sounds kind of weird. But when I investigated what was going on, it got even weirder. The reality is actually even stranger than the fiction. Um, Genetic engineering has come very far, but it raises ethical issues that even have the secular world turning around going, whoa, this is a little bit weird. For example, um, they injected human genetic material into cows, um, in order to use the cows to create Ebola antigens to create an Ebola vaccine. That's kind of strange. I mean, it raises the question, are they cows? Are they a mixture? Are they a mixture of humans? How much human genetic material do you have to have until it's considered a human and not a cow? But, okay, that's kind of weird. But then you go to Duke University, they have experiments where they inject human material into embryonic um, mice, and they see in utero the mice have vastly enlarged brains, and they've even manipulated the genetic material to have the brains show up more clearly on a microscope. That's kind of weird. But then you take it even further, and this starts to get incredibly disturbing, where they take viable internal organs from um, from aborted fetuses, human fetuses, transplant them into mice, and the in order to allow the organs to grow to the point where they can now transplant them in humans. This is still in the experimental stage. Even a person who is okay with experimenting on animals would look at that and go, that's getting up there. I mean, the benefits are clear and the benefits are enormous. I'm not going to belittle them. You're saving human lives. People who are waiting for transplants and may not be able to get a transplant, an organ transplant, in any other fashion. Um, but then you get even weirder. In China, they did something that I think was absolutely, I don't know, horrifying. I don't know if that's the proper word. They took what they called non viable human embryos, and in order to research a cure for a genetic blood disease, they manipulated the genetic material. And what was most disturbing about that um, was that they stopped the experiment because they were they were confronted with what they called a surprising number of unexpected abnormalities. And I think it just helps to accentuate an accent how much they're going into weird territories. And there's a reason why it's called an experiment. You don't know what's going to happen. If you knew what was going to happen, there are different ethical issues, but I find that so much of science today is putting efforts into fixing things that science did yesterday. I'm not anti science, but I think that the problem is science is being dominated so much by knowledge and not enough by wisdom. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something, and doesn't mean it's the beneficial thing to do. Um, Everyone's complaining about global warming. Well, who created global warming? They say that the religious fanatics are the ones who are against global warming, but excuse me, technology and science caused it. Who are you going to point the finger at? How dare scientists and technologists point their fingers at men of spirit, men of thought, men of wisdom? This is technology. It's going to a very strange place. Are they going to greenlight it because it's knowledge and you need it? And then next week they're going to come and tell us, well, we have a problem here. Don't you tell me I can't experiment on fetuses. That's how we got into this problem. So I am, as I said, not against technology and science. God forbid, I think they're great. But I think that the rule of knowledge is not a healthy approach for us. Global warming, all these problems, pollution, they were caused by technology gone wild. And I think that the solution has to come from thought and wisdom and understanding.